What's the stupidest reason you got in trouble in school? Before we start with the first story, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Number 20. For using my asthma medication in class, I was told to keep my inhaler in the office and to use it in there only. I was told it was distracting. No one else is distracting. The sounds of someone gasping for air and having to be removed from class. What's worse is kids have died because they didn't have immediate access to their inhalers or EpiPens because they needed to be kept in the office. Idiotic. Number 19. In 1993, the Flaming Lips song, She Don't Use Jelly, came out. I was in 3rd grade, and I really liked that song, and started singing it with my friends during a double-handed jump roping session. She don't use jelly, or any of these, she uses Vaseline. Boom. Written up. 3-day suspension for saying sexually suggestive things. I had no idea that was meant sexually. Worse even, no one would explain why that song was sexually suggestive. It was very confusing. Number 18. Correcting a teacher's spelling of congratulations. It was a substitute, and it was English literature. Number 17. Clearing my throat before reading out loud to the class. She yelled at me and threatened attention because she thought I was faking it for attention, but I don't see how. Also, more context, I was a quiet kid, so I wasn't one to create drama to begin with. It just made me not want to talk more than I already didn't want to. Number 16. For saying my school picture I had no idea was considered a bad word until I was put in detention for it. Number 15. Someone once poked a wasp nest in the school forest, and the whole swarm came out upon the school. The entire school sat in detention for an hour. Understandable if you don't know who did it, but that's not the problem. We were sitting in detention because the principal's son got stung. As it eventually turned out, it was actually his fault the swarm came down on us. I have cursed his name since the day I found out. Number 14. For not looking at the teacher during the lesson. I wasn't fidgeting. Just sitting at my desk, staring into space. We had a payment system in 3rd grade where you'd get dollars for good behavior, finishing homework, cleaning up after lunch, and lose them for bad behavior. At the end of each quarter, we'd get to use the dollars to buy the book fare. Every kid wanted to stock up. Now each task would get you between $1 to $2. Each day you could only get like 3 max. She charged me $20. It was literally heartbreaking and took me a full month to recover. Turns out I had focal epilepsy and was having episodes in class. Got treated like a kid for it all through high school. Edit. For those of you asking. First, everyone's epilepsy is unique to them. Mine is caused by a cavernous hemangioma on the right frontal lobe gland shot of my noggin for illustration. The location of the mass makes it hard to pinpoint exactly how my seizures manifest because we don't know as much about the frontal lobe as we do the rest of the brain. If you're curious about specifics, I'd be happy to share my experiences, but again, no two epileptics are completely alike, so I can only speak for me. Second, this is precisely what was going through my mind as I handed her the $20. Number 13. I got in trouble for cheating on one of my math exams. The teacher found a piece of paper in my pencil case. I got sent to the principal's office. When the principal asked me about what I wanted to say in my defense, I simply told him to take a look at the note. It turned out to be a shopping list. I was allowed to retake the exam the following week. My friend got in trouble for this when he was actually writing a list of weird events to happen in something he was into at the time, can't quite remember what. The teacher demanded to see the note, then read a list containing items along the lines of Greg set fire to the hospital. And Greg proceeded to shoot Lindsay. And the ghost of Lindsay haunted the rest of the people on the island. Number 12. In middle school, the bell to send us home didn't go off on time. We were all standing by the door waiting to leave when all the other classrooms started leaving to go home. The hallways were filled and teachers were telling people goodbye, so my classroom started to leave too. I was one of the first ones out, but apparently our teacher caught the end half of the class and made them sit down and tell them everyone who walked out the door because I dismiss you at the bell. So all of us who left like the rest of the school got detention. Number 11. First, I did many things to get in trouble legitimately. I went undiagnosed with ADHD and attentive type for a long time because I would laser focus on schoolwork and get done quickly, then get bored and disrupt everyone else. The secretaries in my elementary school office knew me on sight when I went back to visit in high school. But there were a couple of times that were questionable. Clapping. In 4th grade, I learned you can clap louder by having the fingers on one hand go into the palm of the other. I was part of a mini concert for our extremely talented string students. Yeah, hot cross buns, and I was kicked out and sent to the office because I clapped along with everyone else, but a teacher felt I was being disruptive, abusing my newfound power. It was decades ago, so I really can't say if I was being a jerk or not. Sneezing. I sneezed several times and like a duck quack. I got it from my grandfather, did the same. If those things are hereditary, I can try to hold it in, but then it looks like I'm having a seizure. Our middle school science teacher immediately tried to give me S when I sneezed for the first time, and it took the whole class vouching for me before she relented. After that, people would just pause for me to finish, and I'd apologize. Number 10. I was sent to the principal in 6th grade for arguing with my teacher when she insisted that Hitler was a communist. The principal literally did a facepalm, but then pulled himself together and lectured me on being more respectful. Number 9. I dropped my phone down an entire flight of stairs once. I took it out of my pocket, it slipped. I tried to catch it with my hand, but I just ended up hitting it forwards and upwards. It landed at the bottom of the stairs flat on the screen. It was completely broken except for one thing. It could still receive phone calls. So next period, my classmates kept calling me on repeat, and I could do nothing about it because my phone could not silence or ignore the call. Naturally, my teacher blamed me and I was sent to the principal's office, who told me never to do it again and that she'd be keeping my phone the rest of the day. I seriously don't think she realized it was freaking shattered even when she was holding it. Number 8. I had to write a book report in 4th grade, but I didn't think that a 5-paragraph essay would do the book justice. It was a really good book. So I made a mini trifold poster about the plot and character arcs and little clay figures, and it had all the elements of a book report. It just looked different. Everybody had to read their book reports out loud in front of the class, so when it got to my turn, I went up and presented and everybody loved it, except the teacher. She was a complete the entire reason I hated English class until my junior year of high school. Anyway, she didn't like that I did it differently, so she stopped me in the middle of my presentation and told me to see her after class. When I went to her desk, she told me that I wasted my time and I was going to stay in at lunch and write the book report. She's probably not on Reddit, but if you're out there, Ms. Livesey, f*** you. TLDR did an awesome book report in 4th grade, had to redo it cause it was too good. Edit, I don't remember the name of the book. I'm very sorry. I was 8 years old. It was probably standard 4th grade like Stuart Little or something. Also, it was technically still an essay. Just cut up and pasted over the poster. It even had a conclusion, it just didn't look like it. I didn't even read it. Also, this was the same teacher who might wanted to do an experiment that measured how far humans can hear an air as water, said that it was too complicated for a little 4th grader. Ms. Livesey, I got 2nd place in a competition I was technically too young to enter, but got special permission with that freaking experiment. F you're telling the difference between Skittles by taste. Disclaimer, I love Skittles. Number 7. Trying to start a fire, which led to me getting an hour's detention and having to stay for the rest of the lesson in isolation. But why did they think I tried to start a fire? Cause in a science lesson I rubbed 2 sticks together. Number 6. I threw a closed pen to my friend who was like 3 feet away from me, and the teacher freaked out. He made a big deal out of it in front of the whole class for a solid 5 minutes, and then emailed my parents. Luckily, my mom was able to see my side of things and she said, "Doesn't that teacher have a better thing to do than email me about my child throwing pens?" We still laugh about it from time to time. Number 5. In middle school, some kids were stomping on caterpillars during recess. I took a Ziploc bag for my lunch and put as many caterpillars in it as I could to rescue them by taking them somewhere else. I fast-walked to get away fairly quickly without making a scene. A teacher stopped me and accused me of running and shoving. I didn't touch anyone at all, and when she saw the bag, she gave me a look of utter disgust. I got lunch detention for it. I ultimately switched out of that school because the staff had it in for me for some mental health issues and quirks that I later discovered were Asperger's syndrome. Number 4. Spelling test in 7th grade. We wrote down the words as the teacher shouted them out. One of the words was peace. The kid next to me asks, "Which one?" There are 2 different words. Peace. The teacher said, the one on the list you were supposed to study. That's bull. I whispered, peace as in piece of pie. She made us both rip up our tests for cheating. Number 3. Art. Flashback triggered. We each had a notebook in school. Something you would use in all your classes instead of that class's official exercise book. My notebook was full and tattered, so I binned it. Apparently, somebody took it out of the bin and wrote many offensive remarks aimed at different teachers, and then handed it into one of the teachers. Just by look at the handwriting, you could tell it wasn't me. Nope, still got bollocked for that. Edit. Notebooks was effectively a scrapbook for just scribbling down thoughts and ideas, and temporarily throwaway stuff. Workbooks were for writing your final work, and neatly, at the end of the lesson you would hand in your book to be marked. Number 2. I tripped on a loose tile and bumped into a teacher, causing her to spill her coffee on herself. I apologized and showed her the tile. She went on for months about how I did it on purpose. Even got the principal and my folks involved. For the rest of the year, she told me I couldn't come back to her class unless I apologized for doing it on purpose. Never went back to her class. Though I initially apologized for the incident, I never once apologized for doing it on purpose. F you, Miss Helm. I honestly hate hearing these stories. I want to hear that someone stood up for the victims and said, you are a person with authority over us, and you should know better than to act high and mighty. Edit. Don't know if anyone is f***ing with me, but thank you all for your replies. Faith in humanity restored. Number 1. Grad school. As in, full-grown adult. One of my patients was a chill guy. We had one of those relaxed relationships. He would fist bump me after treatment was completed. The Dean of Academic Affairs did not like that. Got a 45-minute lecture on the doctor-patient relationship, and how dare I violate that trust with a fist bump. And that's all the 20 best stories. If you like more of this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your similar experience in the comment below. See you in the next video.